Greetings. Personality is a major topic of psychology, psychiatry, and the entertainment industry. Because personality is so often discussed, I would like to appeal for a few minutes of your time to share a perspective on it that I trust you find worthwhile. First of all, what is personality? The American Psychological Association defines it as such. Personality refers to individual differences in characteristic patterns of thinking, feeling, and behaving. Psychology today simply lists character, trait, and temperament as aspects of personality. Scientology defines it as such. The combination of characteristics or qualities that form an individual's distinctive character. About.com indicates personality is made up of the characteristic patterns of thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that make a person unique. In addition to this, personality arises from within the individual and remains fairly consistent throughout life. My organization's literature defines personality essentially as such. Personality is the human's concept of himself up to the present time. Personality can be made up of many such like personalities. Now, each of these definitions is noteworthy. As we discuss personality, we will frequently substitute the expressions personality trait and personality concept for the word personality. Personality trait identifies the specific behavior or characteristic of the individual. The reason we refer to personality as personality concept is because we are most impressed that personality is primarily a concept as opposed to something that is real. We trust we will have demonstrated this by the end of this commentary. Personality is displayed when the individual accepts a certain trait he observes of himself to be him in reality and totality, therefore unchangeable. The personality traits the individual accepts of himself can be fed by others as well. We will address a few of the most common personality traits we observe. We often observe people, particularly women, declare, "Football is stupid. It makes no sense. I can't stand football. I am just not a football person." In many cases, when we hear someone declare, "I am not such and such," or "I am such and such," we are hearing personality being expressed. I am witness to numerous women with this personality concept about football. To illustrate my point, let's call the woman in my real life example Karen. Karen has a son named Donald who is now 17 years old and has been a football star since he was 6 years old. Karen has been watching and learning football since Donald started playing football 11 years ago. She now knows far more about football than the average person. She attends each of her son's football games and cheers vigorously. She even watches professional football now. She knows just about all the rules and even gets emotional when she disagrees with certain calls made. I surmise you have observed such a situation yourself. Brothers and sisters, if I had a dime for every woman I knew who declared she couldn't understand football, hated football, therefore was not a football person, but later became an avid football fan and expert, I'd be a very wealthy man. So, I trust you can plainly see what she declared herself to be in reality was not the case at all. Certainly when she declared she did not like football, she was being honest about her feelings toward the sport. Personality concept was created when she accepted that what she felt about football represented her in reality and totality therefore unchangeable. To Karen, her feelings about football were as real to her as her nose, arms, and legs. Karen erected a mental wall that would make it difficult for her to ever understand or like football. However, manifestation proved it was all a concept, because after her son started playing football, she became a huge fan of football, which completely contradicted the concept she previously held about football. I hear people declare all the time, "I love the Dallas Cowboys. I'm a die-hard Blackhawks fan. I eat, sleep, and breathe Crimson Tide football. I was born a Knicks fan, and I'll die a Knicks fan." Fast forward a bit, and Mr. Adams, who swears by the Duke Blue Devils and hates the North Carolina Tar Heels, Duke's arch rival, is now the biggest North Carolina Tar Heels fan due to the fact that his son got a full basketball scholarship to the University of North Carolina. I surmise you've witnessed such occurrences yourself. I trust the point is clear. Another very common example of personality concept being expressed, which can be very detrimental if not dealt with appropriately, is when someone expresses, "I hate math. I have never done well in math. I am just not a math person." Brothers and sisters, does this sound familiar? Why is it important for, let's call him Anthony, to understand that he is expressing personality concept? The reason it is so important for Anthony to recognize that he is expressing personality concept is because by declaring, "I am just not a math person," he too erects a barrier within him between math and himself, thereby making it much more difficult to learn certain math when it becomes necessary for him to do so. For instance, Anthony has learned that he can go back to school to complete some coursework that would help him move up in his current employment field. Anthony learns that the classes he needs to take require learning certain math. Now, because Anthony has erected that barrier between math and himself with his personality concept, he undergoes a great deal of stress and anxiety, making it much more difficult for him to take on this task. Brothers and sisters, no such individual exists. We are all individual. Therefore, we all receive, interpret, comprehend, and understand at different rates and under different methods and circumstances. Brothers and sisters, our weapon against developing harmful personality concepts lies in one simple matter: improvement. Improvement. When the individual acknowledges that no matter what the situation is, he can improve, he won't be crystallized by personality concept. If Anthony would simply express the following, he could prevent erecting a barrier between math and himself. I have always struggled with math, and I'm a bit apprehensive anytime I have to do math. But when it becomes essential, if I exercise my will intelligently, I know I can improve in math. This simple, honest declaration, free of personality concept, will be enormously beneficial to Anthony. By making such a declaration, he acknowledges his struggles in math, but does not accept his struggles to be him in totality, therefore unchangeable. The reality or truth of the matter is that Anthony has always struggled with math. The concept or falsity of the matter is Anthony telling himself he's not a math person, as though such a person exists. I'll share a few more commonly expressed personality traits in a moment, but very briefly, I want to address a matter I witness frequently that might suggest that people are mislabeling what they observe. Many times we ascribe personality traits to individuals when that individual may not actually be exhibiting personality traits. For instance, Vanessa's co-workers will say, "That's just the way Vanessa is. She has a jumpy and excitable personality." Well, maybe not. What I have observed, brothers and sisters, is that Vanessa's behavior, which her co-workers describe as her personality, is likely the result of too much coffee/caffeine. Unfortunately, Vanessa consumes so much caffeine that her co-workers rarely, if ever, get to observe her when she's not under the influence of caffeine. We may not really know how Vanessa would act if she wasn't filled with caffeine all the time. As I'm sure you know, caffeine can make one jittery and erratic, which is likely the cause of the personality concept that Vanessa's co-workers ascribe to her. Of course, similar points can be made about sugar, alcohol, marijuana, and other substances. So, brothers and sisters, I trust you can plainly see why it is extremely important to exercise self-control when partaking of the substances we crave. At times, I ponder how humanity would be if people were free of the food, drinks, and drugs they crave and partake of on a regular basis. This is something that humanity must give great consideration to. Now, let's list a few more common personality traits. 1. I am not a morning person. 2. I'm a laid-back, chill person. 3. I speak my mind. I don't hold my tongue for anyone. 4. I'm a free spirit. 5. You want me to ask for forgiveness? Huh, that ain't in my DNA. 6. I'm a people person. 7. I'm a Chevy man. 8. I'm a mean man. I've always been mean, and I'm always gonna be mean. There are many, many more personality traits or concepts, of course. With this in mind, let me stress that most personality concepts are harmless. However, we want to be conscious of those personality concepts that can be extremely harmful, like, I hate such and such people. Brothers and sisters, I've seen prejudiced black and white people declare they hate the other race until that person's son or daughter has a child by the other race. Then all of a sudden that person falls in love with their biracial grandchild and even starts to respect and enjoy the other parent of their biracial grandchild. So, you declared you hated black people until your white daughter had a baby by a black man. Now, after seeing, caring for, and falling in love with that precious little angel, you can't believe you're even the same person you were before. Brothers and sisters, I trust this example elucidates how urgent it is to understand personality concept. Last but not least, one of the most vivid examples of personality occurs in the following situation. See if you can bear witness to this. Mr. Greer is 55 years old. He was a rugged, tough linebacker in high school. He was known to be mean. He went to the military after high school and retired after 30 years of service. He is still crystallized by the same personality concept Today, he keeps an intimidating look on his face, complemented by a handlebar mustache. People approach him with great trepidation. I'm sure you can see the picture. Now, Mr. Greer's daughter is about to be married. Before he gives her away, he sobs like a baby and can barely compose himself well enough to carry out his duties as father of the bride. At the reception, he dances, smiles, laughs, and converses joyfully with others. Brothers and sisters, do you see it? Do you see how personality concept erected a barrier between Mr. Greer and plain old common courtesy, politeness, and a cheerful countenance for the majority of his life up to that point? Do you see how his daughter getting married broke down that wall of personality concept? Brothers and sisters, it wasn't him in reality, in totality. He simply accepted that being mean, intimidating, curt, and discourteous was him. But boy, oh boy, did his precious angel ever break down that wall of personality concept, at least during her wedding. I trust I have been clear and concise. I trust you received something you find worthwhile. This message would not have been possible if not for the wisdom teachings of my master teacher and founder of New Age Truth, Dr. David M. Berry. Thank you for your time and consideration. Love and harmony, Brother Osiris.